Good morning, everybody. It's a great pleasure to be with you this morning. Whenever I have an opportunity to speak to a group of people, I always talk about York University, about the wonderful university that we all belong to, and more specifically about our students. Our students are the reason we are here, and our students have our total commitment to make sure they have the best learning experience possible. So before I get into the specific about the, should I put the first slide? Yeah. Oh. That's very, all right, here we go. 40 years later, I traded a briefcase for a backpack, and I loved it. So before I talk about this, I think you got some hints about what I'm going to talk about. I'd like to go back to the last time I was a student. I want to go back to the 70s. This is the decade that saw the appearance of digital watches. The first scientific handheld calculator was introduced to the market, the HP 35, for those old people like me who may remember that. And my favorite movie was released, The Godfather. It was also the decade where I left my home country of Egypt, came to Canada in pursuit of graduate studies. I came here to pursue graduate studies and graduated with my PhD in 1977. This is the last time I was a student. Now, fast forward to 2012. I'm at York University, one of the leading universities in the country, the third largest university in Canada, and one of the largest universities in North America. Our university was with some of the leading programs and faculties. We are here at Glendon, the only bilingual liberal arts college in Southern Ontario. We have Osgoode Hall Law School, Schulich School of Business, two of the leading faculties in their disciplines throughout the world. We have some of the leading programs in fine arts, liberal arts, that we are extremely proud of. We built a university that's amazing in only 52 years. We have also an outstanding faculty, staff, and student body. With all of that, we try and pursue continuing support for our students. However, the environment we are in now, we are in an environment where we have a government that's committed to post-secondary education, and we're very pleased with that. But also the world has gone through an amazing economic downturn, the effect of which trickles down to universities no matter what you do. So it is very important to make sure that our commitment to our students continue, and our desire to ensure that our students have the best learning environment continues to be our #1 priority under these circumstances. So what do? We want to know from the students. We want to make sure that our limited resources are put in the best place possible. We want to learn what the students are doing. Indeed, we have meetings with students. We have interaction with students. I even have office hours for students. We try and we do surveys. We try and get as much as possible to learn what the students need to make sure that we can relate to them. However, an interesting idea came in our pursuit for engaging our students. An idea to have a student take on the job of the president for a day while the president basically fulfills all the responsibilities and duties of a student in that day. And that was this was the announcement that was put out. We asked students to essentially put an application to be a president for a day. We actually received 40 applications. We had a committee to review the applications and choose a student. I did not participate in the committee. The committee, applicants were expected to submit a 5-word application or a video, and they were basically asked one important question: to identify 3 priorities from student perspective, 3 priorities which they will do if they are president for a day. Well, after looking at all the applications, the committee chose Rabia Sajan. Rabia is a student in biochemistry and education, 3rd-year student. She's also the co-president of the Chemistry Society. This is a student society focusing around chemistry. Rabia was to take my position for one day, and I took all her classes for one day. And I would like to share some of this experience with you. There's a video here that will show you some of the experience we had. I better step down.
It's 9 a.m. on the York University campus, and York's president and Vice-Chancellor Mamdouh Shoukri prepares to spend the day as a student, swapping roles with York student Rabia Sajan. He starts the day with a quick stop over at the Stacy Library to prepare for an upcoming lab. Meanwhile, President Sajan attends her first meeting of the day, an update on the status of the METRAC recommendations. She won the chance to swap roles with Dr. Shoukri in a York University-wide contest in February. Over at the chemistry building, Dr. Shoukri chats with science and engineering students as co-president of York's Chemistry Society. Then he's off to his first class of the day, molecular biology. Back at the president's office, President Sajan is discussing York University's plans to expand the Stacy Library. With his first class of the day finished, Dr. Shoukri heads to the Student Center for lunch. That afternoon, President Sajan delivers welcome remarks to the Career Conversations panel and audience. While the president is giving her speech, Dr. Shoukri is getting hands-on learning experience with his physics lab classmates. Then, President Sajan returns to the President's office to discuss development opportunities with VP O'Hagan and York University Alumni Association Chair, Guy Burry, and hosts a roundtable discussion on student priorities. After a long day, both are just glad to be heading home.
So, let me tell you first, when the idea was presented to me, to be honest, I was quite skeptical about it. But the more I thought about it, I knew that it would be the first in Canada to be done. And the more I thought about it, the more I started to become interested in it. And ultimately, we did it, as you can see. So what is my experience? First of all, having been to 2 classes, a lab, and spent some time in the library and some time in the student center and some time actually in the office of the Chemistry Society, which the student is the co-president of. So here are my impressions. First of all, we have outstanding faculty. I cannot say enough about the dedication of the faculty in the 2 classes I attended. And actually, I was also quite impressed when I attended the lab by the lab instructor, the technician. You can see the dedication in these people who are trying to do everything possible to introduce the students to the subject. They show pride in the knowledge they have, and they are really totally committed to the students. I saw also students who are very proud of being students at York University, and that was very gratifying. I saw students who are interested in supporting the university, in supporting one another, and I can see the leaders of tomorrow, as they say. Now, let me tell you also about what I saw in terms of the infrastructure and the student life. There is definitely unevenness in the quality of the infrastructure we have. First classroom I visited, or I was sitting in, is a modern classroom, had all the equipment that is needed for a modern classroom. On the other hand, the other classroom I spent time in really leaves something to be desired. And again, it's an indication of the funding situation we're in. But it gives me a very clear signal, the need to make additional investment in some of the classroom. Again, the Student Center, although a wonderful space for our students, yet I think it was obvious to me that we need to expand the Student Center. Well, you can see I had difficulty with the microwave to heat up my lunch. However, really the idea was that there was a lineup, really a long lineup in front of the microwave. Some of these things we are some of these things can be resolved in a short period of time, and some other things we are working on, and we need all the community support to do that. But the most important thing I could say is the following, that I was able to see the students' needs, and I could see the university from the perspective of students, and I enjoyed every minute of it, and I think it was very informative. It helped us put our priorities straight to reflect what we are here for, as we try to be always student-centered in any decisions we make. So that was extremely useful. There was also a lot of fun. A lot of fun when you sit in the office of the president of the Chemistry Society, and students come in to purchasing some notes, and I sell it to them, I take the money, they walk out, and after they finished and they thought they are done, I thought they are done, they come back running and say, "Are you really the president?" And so there was a lot of fun. Would I do it again? Absolutely. I'll be doing it again. And well, this is me in the classroom, in one of the classrooms, and that was the end of the day for me going home. Well, the moral of this whole thing is the following. We as a university, our commitment is to our students. Our commitment is to make absolutely sure we have the best learning environment for our students. This is only one way of learning about the student perspective and their needs and desires. And again, thank you all for listening to me this morning.